Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome. It's Nurse Richard, the Wax Wizard. Stay tuned. This is a special edition. For what reason? Well, why not? I've really decided to go all out to really treat you. I normally save something like this for a big number, like a 100th edition or a 50th edition, but I was a bit quiet in clinic today. And I just thought, do you know what? I'm going to do something I've not done before, which is I'm just going to throw the kitchen sink at you. By that I mean I'm going to bombard you with so many procedures, so many years. That much so that I've had to, I don't normally do that, I've had to write them down. There's that many on here. There's 14 ears, I think 11 procedures, so some with 2 ears, some with 1 ear. Some interesting stuff, some satisfying stuff, and I think you're going to enjoy it. So if you've got, how long of this? 24 minutes spare, then if you haven't got 24 minutes spare, come and watch it later. Or go and get yourself a cuppa, put me on pause, and then come back and settle down and strap yourself in, because there is literally a bit of everything in this. The reason I've called it one day in clinic is the majority of these were done in one day. It's a fairly typical day. And I think there might be 1 or 2 that are from a couple of days, but I had to put a couple of fillers in to fill it up, but it's an average day. So you'll get to see some straightforward ones, like I said, and some quite complicated ones. And we'll hopefully, this being nearly half an hour long, have a bit of fun along the way as well. But I'm probably going to have trouble keeping up and telling you what's going on. I'm not going to be able to remember the stories behind every single one of these patients. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll tell you that now. Some I do, some stick out, some don't. This one doesn't. I've just titled this Simple Little Peel, and that's what I'm doing now. I had a straightforward removal and gone to the fine end tube and just peeled a little bit of dead skin away from the base of that chap, lady, no idea. Fairy. Just grab that last little bit there. There's no need to carry on peeling further down than that. That skin's probably still attached. And there is a lovely looking eardrum. Second one I've just entitled Deep. I can see why. Can you? I think this was a hearing aid user, and that's why it ended up all the way down here. I don't think it took long at all, to be honest with you. Fine end tube, gone down, and the second one was a flat shard of very dark wax that was sitting on top of someone's eardrum. So that eardrum's not going to work very well at all, because when sound enters the ear canal, it makes the eardrum vibrate, and if you've got something on that, it's acting like a dampener or a muffler, if you will. So we noticed a fairly big difference as soon as we hoiked that out. And out it comes. I missed her. I'll try and get... I'll try and do those on time next time. So there's one little bit deeper down at the ear canal. There's a few little bits around the edges of that. There's no need to go and get that. This one was a teenager. And now I was in two minds as to whether this could have been an early sign that this it was a young lady. It may have been getting keratosis obturans. I'm not convinced on that, but the reason what makes me think that, it was a young lady, and it's pretty much all skin, this. Quite difficult to get into. It's quite not the smallest, not the largest ear, sorry. But there was an awful lot of skin content in this one. I seem to remember there was 2 in this. I don't think I put the second ear in that. It probably lasted a bit long, so that will make a longer video, that one. She was quite, you'll notice me jump a little bit here. She was quite sensitive to the noises that it was making, which can't be avoided sometimes. Well, let's wiggle that out. Yeah, good skin plug in that one. And you'll think that's the majority of it until you look in again, and still more down there. I seem to remember she does swim a lot as well. So there could be a chronic inflammation, which is causing an excess skin production in there as well. Or because she's getting a lot of water in the ear, it's drying it out so the skin can't naturally migrate sideways as well as it should. That could have been happening as well. But I'm going to have a look at this young lady again in about 6 months, and then we'll have a better idea of what's going on then. And still, that's not everything either. So again, fine end tube because it's a little deeper, and because she was a little more sensitive to the noise. I had to use the big tube at the start with, just because it was a big substantial lump to start with. And always one of those heart sinking moments where you see one like this, you think, oh no, that's going to be tricky. Because like I said, it wasn't the easiest day to get into, but it was in that spot that you really don't want to leave anything, which was just in the soft portion of the eardrum. And you'll know a lot of your regulars who watch this, that is the area where you can quite commonly develop issues if you don't remove it. Some of the skin, if there's a little softer portion, the skin can fall into that and start growing inwards and behind the eardrum. That would be a middle ear cholesteatoma. It's not what this was, but you don't really want to leave anything on there in case that does start to happen. But no retraction at all in there. I'm more than happy with that. What was in? Now I do remember this one quite clearly. Now I'm only showing you only a couple of minutes of this procedure. Truth be told, it went on for ages, possibly far longer than it should have done, because I saw this gentleman twice. The first time I saw him, he had a really nasty infection, an outer ear infection. There was a load of pus and discharge in his ear, and it was just so crusty. It's like it had been infected, and then it had been treated by the GP before he saw me. And obviously that infection had created all this discharge, and then when he stopped using the antibiotic spray, all this stuff had just crusted all over the place, and it took two visits to get it all out. And this was the second visit, because this crust that was on his eardrum was just so rock solid. I said, you're going to have to go away for a few days, try and soften that up a little bit more before we can get that off. But even when I got hold of it there with the fine end tube, it's still rock solid, this thing, but it's clinging on for dear life. And really difficult to get a good grip on these really deep hardened shards. Really difficult. It's still a little unhappy, the eardrum. I think it will settle down in time. But I'm trying to grab it at the bottom there, and it's just completely attached to there. And because it's that deep in the ear, you've not really got much room to wiggle things about, unfortunately. Now I can see where it's clinging on. Can you just see the skin attached on the bottom right of that shard? But I tell you what, the relief as soon as I got this out, because he'd been struggling for weeks, if not months, this chap with this infection, and it's still attached. I'm still pulling and finally it becomes free. But yeah, if I'd have posted that as a video, as a full-length video, as it was, I'd have got a raft of abuse because it took so long. It takes as long as it takes sometimes. But as you can see there, the eardrum's still a little inflamed, so there's still a bit of work to do on there. I've advised just use some more some acetic acid spray, which will help to calm that down a little bit. Right, next one. What does this say? All I've written on here is dropped. I don't remember it, to be honest. I can only assume that I've dropped it at some point, which does tend to happen. It's a hazard of the job, unfortunately, that occasionally you will drop wax, often dribbling down people's neck, landing on the shoulder, rolling down, landing on the lap, down tops. I have dropped a few substantial plugs down the front of some ladies' tops if they're wearing quite an open blouse before. I haven't gone in and got it. That's up to them to find. I'm pretty sure there's some rules on that kind of stuff, on what's socially acceptable. I would only put my hand down one lady's top, and I'm married to her, so she doesn't. Well, I say she doesn't mind. Drifting off subject again. It's just as well she doesn't watch these videos. Yeah, she finds them horrible. Anyway, what am I doing here? It's quite squidgy, that, isn't it? But I think it is gonna stay formed. Yeah, a lot of skin. You can just see to the right hand side there's some more freshly shed layers of skin in there. But this is one of them that's a bit squidgy, so as you're getting a grip and pulling it away, that bit that you've touched kind of disappears up the tube. So this is about kind of touching it gently to try and just bring it forward a little bit. Because you don't really want it disappearing up the tube, you want it to stay attached to the tube and then pull it out. Speak of the devil, she's calling me up. Do you know what? I'm going to answer it. Hello? Hello? Hi. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you're right. What's up? Did I? Oh, I rang you? Oh, yes, I did. Sorry. Memory starts to go when you reach my age. I rang you. Why did I ring you? Oh, I'm nipping. Going to go and get that kale that Eva wants for me to do a seaweed. No, I'm going to nip out shortly and do it. I was just wondering if you needed anything else from the shop while I'm there. Okay. Good. Hotels. Are you sure? Is it for that trip she's going on school? Okay. Is there anything else she needs for that? Is it 2 packed lunches she needs? Okay. Bits and bobs. Okay. And it's just at the entrance now, so hopefully it should come out. Happy days. But there's nothing you need now. All right then. Well, you think about it. Let me know. And I'll see you in a bit. Love you too. Bye. Sorry about that. There was no way I was going to start recording this video again. I'd already done 10 minutes. I don't know if you could hear. Yeah, I've forgotten that. I forgot that I rang her because I'm nipping shop. Nipping shop. I should stop talking in colloquialisms sometimes because you might not know what I'm talking about. There's a few weird sayings for I'm going shop. And the strangest one I ever heard in the UK was in Scotland, because my sister lives up there. My brother-in-law is Scottish, very Scottish, from Edinburgh. And they say, I'm going out for my messages. I'm going picking up my messages. And I'm like, what's he on about? Phone's over there. You can just listen to it. But no, apparently going for your messages means going out, getting your shopping. So that's why I rang her. I'm nipping out because my daughter's on some kind of school trip tomorrow, and she needs some stuff for a packed lunch. And this is first world problems. This is a middle class my family is now. We didn't used to be. There you go. That's where I dropped it. Hang on, get this in first. There we go. And what was I talking about? Oh yeah, how middle class my family. First world problems. This. When I asked her what she wants in a packed lunch, she said, "I want some kale." I know. When I didn't even know what kale was. But we get these meal prep things, and she, because you can get it like in the right quantities. I think there's one's called Hello Fresh Gusto, something like that. I don't know if they have them all over the world. Well, you basically, instead of doing your shopping, you'll get the exact ingredients for specific meals, and they come with an ingredient card, so you don't waste any food. And I was making one the other day, some kind of Chinese thing, and it came with seaweed. Now, whenever I know it's not actual seaweed, but I always assumed it was cabbage that they used for it, kind of baked cabbage with a sprinkle something on it, something sweet on it. And when I was making this recipe card, they make it with kale, and with just like a bit of vegetable oil, salt, sugar, put it in the oven, bake it so it becomes crispy. And she went absolutely bananas for it. So my life's not worth living unless I nip to the supermarket after I finish work today and buy her some kale so I can make her some seaweed, some crispy seaweed, so she can take it on a school trip tomorrow. First world problems, eh? We just had a ham sandwich. An ham sandwich in a bag of prawn cocktail crisps, and that was our packed lunch done. Kale, what's the world coming to? Anyway, don't get me started on that. I don't even know where I'm up to now on these. Let me see if I can remember. I think this is what's called recess I've written down in here. Now I do remember. This is one of them that's, if you don't know what the recess is, it's these, you'll see the eardrum looking straight at you there, but down to the bottom and to the right, there'll be some little hidden nooks and crannies and crevices where a lot of this stuff is hiding, but it's one of them that you just touch it up and pull it out, and you're like, whoa, where's all that come from? And this one was one of those. It was a bit of a shock. It's like I know I've compared it before to the rabbit out of the hat, or the magician pulling handkerchiefs out of his sleeves. It's like, it just keeps coming, but you can't see it when you look straight on, but it's all there. She was surprised too. I don't know if you'll hear it in the audio when it finally comes out, because I mauled about with it for a bit first because it was quite a bit soft, so I'm trying to find if there's a firmer section somewhere, and I do find it when I move more to the area I'm in now, and to the bottom left, and you'll see as I touch one area on the far left, I think it might be coming up shortly, that the whole thing just slightly moves a little bit, so I know that's the point I need to aim for. So it'll all come out in pretty much one go, and I think that's what it did. I might be wrong. Like I said, it's been ages since I've done a lot of these. Here we go. Is it going to lift? If I just slightly touch it from the side and pull it to the right. There it goes. Look at that.
Wow.
Hang on.
What is that?
One
Oh,
more.
my goodness.
There it goes. Another wax baby safely delivered. I'll get in trouble for that sound effect because I know a lot of people, it sets the dogs and the cats off. If that's you, your dog and your cat going bananas there, I'm sorry. It's too good an opportunity to pass up. And I do get told off for not saying it much anymore, so there you are for those of you. That'll keep you happy. Right, what's this one? Bubbles. Ah, right, bubbles, yes. Can you see the bubbles? So what's happened there? And then again, this a typical day, you often get one of these that pops in. Somebody who comes in who says, I can't hear very well. And you look in their ear and you see there's nothing in their ear canal, and they're like, well, why on earth can't I hear then? And so what's happened here? He's got a collection of fluid behind the eardrum. It's not infected, it's just a mucousy fluid. The eustachian tube joins the back of the nose to behind the eardrum to the middle ear space, lets air in. And if that's not working quite as well as it should, you can get a negative pressure in the middle ear space, and that can draw in fluid from the surrounding structures, and that's what's happened there. So I've suggested that he pinch your nose and blow. That will help to open up the eustachian tube so that can drain out. There's also a balloon you can get that you put up your nose and inflate it. That can help in those instances as well. I've asked him to get it checked out with his doctor if he feels like those things haven't helped, because there could be something that's physically blocking the eustachian tube that might need further investigation. Anyway, what's the next one? Hook. You can see why I've called it hook. Big old hard furball. I think it's one of Neil's rye hooks, this. She's very good. And I've just took some digging in. You wouldn't have been able to do that with the old hook because the end's a lot blunter. But his is nice and pointy. Not as pointy as Cawthorn hook. The Cawthorn hook is a lot smaller than that. This was the same ear of the other patient. Now I couldn't hook this because, well, you see for a start there's no caps around it. It's kind of smeared around the sides of this person's ear canal. I don't know whether it was a man or a lady. No, and why it's looking like this, it's highly suspicious, to be honest with you. It's got cotton bud written all over it, if you ask me. Because just for the sheer amount of hairs in this, they don't grow down there. They can shed and fall off down there, but a lot of the time it'll be because they might have been pushed down there. So it took a bit of a time to get a decent grip of this, but quick wiggle, and it didn't come out without too much of a fuss. How many have we got left after this? Just a couple. I've called this Furball. Quite self-explanatory, some of the titles I've given these. This is how I often do these videos. I'll after a procedure, I'll quickly upload it onto my laptop, and I'll have to title it something so it sparks something in my mind for if I want to use that in one of these videos. And yeah, that one I titled Furball. It's like something a cat coughed up and left down there, isn't it? Yeah, just got a little trapped here. I could have got a tool in there to just hoik that out of there, but I've already got one in my hand. That I've started to use the suction tube in a curette-like fashion. You kind of drag it and roll it forward, not really using the suction, but using the fact that you've got something in your hand and you can kind of scrape it forward, because it's all out the ear. And there's that Furball. Another Furball safely delivered. Left the ear canal, not too happy, that one. Not surprising, really. Should settle down, that. This one, the 10th procedure, I've called child. I think it's clearly because it's a child. It was a really small child as well, this. I want to say they're about 4 years old. Now, we did remove that. There was some element of retraction there, which is not that unusual in a lot of kids. I think they have had a history of glue ear. So always likely to have some issues there, but I think they actually are under the investigations from ENT to see if they might need grommets in the future. They're not horribly retracted, just a touch, but not too bad. This last one, what have I put? Bud/fibre. Ah, I know why. This person came in and they had a sore ear. You can see why, can't you? And they did ask them. They wore hearing aids. And I remember asking them at the time, I said, you used cotton buds, anything like that? Pushed anything in your ear? I said, well, I wear hearing aids. And that might be what's pushed that down there and caused that little bruise on the right-hand side. And so you'll see what I showed them, because the proof was in the pudding here. Can you see there's a little fibre there? And what I'm doing, I'm not grabbing that. I'm putting the suction tube near it so it lifts up, so it makes it visible to the patient who's watching it on the screen. I said, can you see that? Looks like a cotton wool fibre to me, that. And at that point, she said, oh, she finally admitted it. She said, oh yeah, I do recall, maybe I did it once or twice. And I remember it hurting when I did that. And well, I said, that's what's caused that bruise there. It's not your hearing aid. Can't get away with it when it's right there in front of you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did enjoy that, then leave us a comment, like the video. I should have asked this earlier, really. And please subscribe or follow the channel, whichever platform you're watching on. And if you like what we do, you can even consider becoming a member, which you get something like that every day without me chatting over it, but you get procedures uploaded as they happen, the full things, all raw and unedited. Yeah, if that's something you want to do, there's a button that says join, but that's for the members. The other button, this is on YouTube, says subscribe. Subscription costs you nothing. It just helps me out and gets the channel put out there in front of more people. That's all you need to do. And you'll get told whenever there's a new video if you click the bell button. I think that's all that out the way. Anyway, 25 minutes. Fair flew by that, didn't it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. But for now, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you later. Ta-da.